Hello, we are here today with Silvia Micalo, who's the founder and CEO of Sunshine Oxygen, and we will have today the AI-Café talk on AI and health tech innovation. My name is Carmen McWilliams. I'm from Grassroots Arts, and the AI-Café is part of the European research project AI for Media. And also with me today is my co-moderator and research assistant, Emma. So, hi, Emma.
Hi.
So, hi, Silvia. Great that you're here. Great. So we are very happy you're all here today. And we, as always, have to read the regulations. Please take notice that the session will be recorded. No confidential information shall be shared in this cafe session. In this cafe, the speakers express their personal view and opinions. This is not necessarily the official AI for Media project opinion. And as always, this is an interactive cafe show. So if you have questions, please send them to us in the chat. The cafe is an online forum to gain insights into the European AI scene. Participants get the chance to share knowledge and experiences and meet stakeholders from various areas of AI research and applications. I will now introduce Silvia. Yes,
Well,
Silvia.
Well, thank you so much, Carmen. I'm glad to be here sharing with this AI Cafe with you, Carmen and Emma. And it's a pleasure to be this afternoon with all you, having this AI Cafe together. And we are having this subject, artificial intelligence and health tech, that Carmen asked me to speak about today. It's not a small subject, we could say. It's an ambitious subject, though I will try to share with you my own personal vision about this field. And I can say that I'm the author of the book Health Tech Innovation, and some of the contents are adapted or taken from the book. Okay, so let's start first, if you will, with a small introduction of how we are in regarding to health tech and how is artificial intelligence in the field, how is emerging or popping up. Next, Carmen, please.
Yes. And moment. Stop. You see it? One moment. I think there is a problem with our and one moment. Here. Do you see it? And not yet. Now you see it?
Now, perfect. So let's start with an EU takeoff point, if you will. We could say that next, please. We could assume that 140 billion euros is what represents health tech in Europe. Okay, we can consider that health tech companies are growing more than 25%. This is a big growth during the last years, and we should consider that 63% of the companies regarding to health tech have been built the last 5 years, so they are pretty new. It's a new market, a new field, and a new environment to pop up regarding to artificial intelligence. We should consider that 7.4 of the overall expenditure only in Europe regarding to healthcare is related to health tech. And the new digital framework is popping up in Europe, and AI is fostering a lot of opportunities for health techs and for healthcare environment. We are going to address all of them during this presentation, but we could consider that within the European Union, Horizon 2020 and EU Digital Strategy Transformation, it's embracing all of them under these umbrellas. Okay, so AI is a new concept, and it's pushing the universal access, equity, and sustainability, embracing the healthcare systems of the future. It's helping us to progress. So next, please. So we can consider that 75% of European Union companies will be using AI by 2030. This is an important data because it says that AI is here to stay. And we need to make the best out of it. I would say we can make our algorithms the more humanized possible and take care of ethics concerns also in healthcare. Next, please. Next. So what is AI? Next, considering a back to basics starting point. Next, please. We can assume that in very big terms, it's a black box, pure biostatistics, operating trial and error at speed of light. We can consider speeds at quantum computing levels, and in this black box, we can decide or we cannot. We can have supervised or non-supervised models. But in the end, what we put in the black box is inputs that they can be regarding to healthcare, direct inputs impacting healthcare, or they can be indirect outputs like Earth observational data sets, for example. And after we can get after the black box the outputs, and these outputs are what we really want from artificial intelligence, and these outputs are helping us to foster this and forecast these healthcare risks. We are able to anticipate and to move forward towards early diagnosis and better prognosis thanks to artificial intelligence in the healthcare field. These automated algorithms are really pushing for real life data and quality metrics where there's still room to grow. Next, please. So as medicine is skyrocketing, last please. Medicine is skyrocketing. AI, artificial intelligence, is skyrocketing the progress of medicine. We not only need to consider that we are moving towards a model of precision and personalized medicine, but also we are contributing to the progress of all the omics disciplines, proteomics, metabolomics, genomics, all these transcriptomics. Fields of the medicine are progressing at the speed of light, and consequently we are moving forward towards a very much more up-to-date and progressed model, healthcare model, we could say, towards the sustainability situation. So we now, at this moment, we can already assess medicines in digital twins. We can have digital twins where we assess medicines, drugs, and we can see how these medicines have secondary effects in not real patients, but twins from these patients, and they are virtual patients. And these are all driven by artificial intelligence. So all of this is helping us to have a more predictive medicine, to move forward a model of predictive medicine, pushing for no pathology happening, catching it at the very beginning, and moving towards a healthcare risk forecasting landscape. So next, please. Next. So next, please. So if we could consider one of the best applications that AI can have in healthcare, we could say that understanding the patient journey. The patient is in the very center of all what we do. We wake up every day as health tech strategists, deciding how can we improve the patient's lifestyle and well-being. And this has to do with optimizing the patient journey. Since the patient is diagnosed until he is chronicized, or in the best of the situation is recovered, there's a window, a therapeutic window, and AI is helping us to narrow this window, like early diagnosing the pathology and getting the outcome of the pathology the sooner the possible. And this means narrowing the gap. If you can click, Carmen, it will pop up two messages here in the right, please. So to be able to understand this patient journey, we are being helped by artificial intelligence in the healthcare field. We are understanding and starting to understand what was not understandable before. We are kind of understanding these pain points and these gaps that the patient journey has along its pathway, and starting to suppress them, to delete them. So AI is helping us to understand and consequently operate. Next, please. So how can AI contribute to all this? By empowering the patient. That's as simply as that. What we are achieving through artificial intelligence is that the people, the patients, the citizens are every time more and more responsible of their health, their own healthcare. And this is based on how AI is enabling to optimize this patient journey. What we were saying before, narrowing this gap in between the early diagnosis and the better prognosis. So this has to do with patient empowerment. And what does patient empowerment mean? Patient empowerment means to put the patient in the very center of all what we do. But this is not something that we just say. It's something that we are really making possible in health tech. And this has to do with permitting his own self-referral through empowerment, through knowledge and training, permitting this personalized outreach, medicine personalized and precise medicine, data-driven self-diagnosis. The diagnoses are carried out every time more and more data-driven through and helped by AI models, that we are enabling a behavioral change. The patient every time more and more is able to understand his own care condition and consequently take actions onto this purpose. So this means better healthcare outcomes. And we are achieving this also driven by artificial intelligence. Or these self-care functions, why not? Every time more and more as the patient is empowered and understands his own healthcare condition, he's he can decide by himself and take decisions, but not only decisions, but also informed and genuine decisions. And this makes also possible the device monitoring. Why not? Every time more and more we have wearables, Internet of Medical Beings that are vehiculated by AI, and they are permitting these outcomes, extraordinary outcomes in some cases when we speak about healthcare. So next, please. So is AI, we can make to ourselves this question, no? Is AI the very base that enables circular economy? This circularity is in reality being permitted thanks to AI. Well, I could say possibly. We come from a model of the take, make, and dispose, a linear model in healthcare, and we're going through this towards this circular model for first time. And this circular model has to do with renew, make, and share. And when I say these two concepts, it shakes our way of thinking. No, how can healthcare really be renewed or remade or shared? How is it possible? Well, for example, we have some catalysts, some shifts that lately are emerging in press and we can say in different fields of our expertise. And we could start by, for example, non-fungible tokens. Lately, how it's been spoken a lot about non-fungible tokens in real life, for example, in the world of art, but also in healthcare. We are moving towards this dematerialization of data sets, healthcare data sets. But when we are digitalizing all these healthcare data sets, we can say that we are creating these assets when we speak about NFTs. And these assets then pop up an ethical question. Who is the owner of the healthcare data set? Of course, the patient, no? But the patient is the owner, but this data set needs to be shared to the healthcare systems in order to drive the progress of medicine and to drive the AI models of the future. So here there are some examples of this circular economy and how it's being enabled. So next, please. So we could consider some best practices that are emerging lately. Next, please. For example, we are moving from an old model of the in-hospital to an in-home new model. The old model where everything took place in the hospital towards this in-home. If you click, please, Carmen, then we will see that it pops up a new image that it's this in-home hospital. And what is the in-home hospital? This enabled artificial intelligence occurring permits the not only the follow-up of the patient, but also the real-life treatment of the patient happening at home. We have some situations that, for example, or examples, real-world examples from patient support programs in the old model towards these Internet of Medical Beings occurring in the patient's home. And we have these situations of smart mirrors that track or follow up the patient daily and collect all the information that that can have to do with healthcare, the color of the face, different parameters that otherwise wouldn't have been collected. And consequently, they permit the healthcare professional take action towards it. The next, please. So we are speaking about artificial intelligence, and we are speaking about circular economy, because artificial intelligence is the best practice that constitutes the baseline of all this circular economy. And when I speak about circular economy, it pops up another concept, which is Healthtech diplomacy, because if we think of a circular economy globally, we need to consider cross-border data sets enabled and open access, so that medicine and health tech can progress. So we can consider three fields of three columns in these terms in circular economy. From one side, we have the Internet of Medical Beings. The second, we have the data advocacy. And finally, the ad hoc, the personalized medicine. Please, if you click, thank you. And 2 clicks more, please. So we have this health-related quality of life and QALYs, which is quality adjusted life years. And what all of this is about? It has to do with revolutionary medicine. We are bringing the healthcare in the home of the patient, and we are trying to respect his lifestyle every time more and more and impact the less possible his lifestyle. Include the health tech solutions in the lifestyle of the patient, and this has to do with health related quality of life preservation, and these quality adjusted life years. What I was saying, it's not about expanding the life of the patient only, but also expanding the life of the life expectancy of the patient in high standards of quality of health. Both terms are important when it has to do with patient humanization, and they are pop up. And we are moving towards a model of 5.0 industry. We were coming from the 4.0 industry, where we had machines interconnected and automatized. But now we are moving towards a model of 5.0, where the patient is in the very center, and where we also include at this model sustainability. Okay, so when we speak about that advocacy, it pops up what we were speaking about, NFTs, and the economy of the data and the data democratization. And finally, when we speak about ad hoc medicine, we've already spoken about precision and personalized medicine, but also we need to consider translational medicine. This medicine for every single individual in the world. There are not two twins possible, so we are at the level that we can already adjust the treatments and the healthcare to every single person and its needs, its own needs. So next, please. So there are some best practices already happening regarding to AI, and some of them are already validated by healthcare bodies, which is important. For example, we have from one side implants for epilepsy for patients that are implanted in real patients that do have epilepsy, and they are approved by FDA already. And these implants are monitoring, and not only monitoring, but also taking action from the other side. It's bi-directional, real-life action in terms of healthcare in epilepsy patients. Next, please. Also, we have these temperature sensors for screening staff and patients, for example, in rooms, in hospital waiting rooms. For example, we have these Internet of Medical Beings that are already collecting and scanning the temperature of the different individuals in the room. And this makes this diagnosis in the waiting room. And all vehiculated by AI again. And finally, we have a third best practice we could consider that it's already being democratized and put as a commodity. A commodity means that it's already standardized. It's nothing new. It's already a standard. And we can consider conversational AI for explaining, for example, procedures, but not only at pool level, like mass information. It's about personalizing this information explanation procedures ad hoc to each single patient or individual. So next, please. But we still need better tools. There's still room to grow. There's a lot of room to grow. We have in the telehealth field, there's a broad spectrum of improvements that can be carried out. For example, we have in some countries that they are already having this we could say chambers that a remote area patient can sit down in this chamber and take 1 minute test essay and have a 1 minute conversation with the healthcare professional, and at the same time an AI system is collecting data sets and taking a parallel diagnosis. What's the result? That the patient in 1 minute in a remote area that otherwise couldn't have the possibility to interact with a healthcare professional can not only interact with a healthcare professional but can have a fully accurate diagnosis in 1 minute, and after that diagnosis that it's hybrid, it's from a healthcare professional and helped by an AI artificial model that can get outside and take the medication home, as if it was dispensing beverages and foods machine. And so this gives us food for thought. There's a lot of room to improve, also not only in telehealth, but also in AI supported diagnosis. There's a broad spectrum in diagnosis field that can be improved. And also in terms of how the algorithms work. They're already working with all the blueprints of the overall healthcare pathway. But also, for example, in chronic patients, the follow-up platforms, as simple as that. No, patients that have already stabilized the pathology, but they have these, they are interacting in these platforms. For chronic patients, there's a lot of room to improve in here. And why not the acute phases, diagnosis and prognosis, where you can anticipate an acute phase from a pathology 2 days before happening, and consequently take action onto it, towards it. Or why not the robotic precision surgeries, vehiculated by AI also and supported by them. So we are moving towards very much improved tools vehiculated by AI, but there's still a lot of room to grow and to expand and to innovate. So next, please. But there's the healthcare professional in the very center of all what we do. We are speaking about AI models, but we need to consider and upskill the healthcare professional. He needs to be on board of all these advances since the very beginning. They are the contact to the patient in a daily basis, and they know what are the real needs in the field, and we need to consider the healthcare professionals. We need to take into account, that for example, pretty soon, decisions that take less than 2 minutes taking from healthcare professional side, that it's a mere bureaucratic process. It's going to be fully automatized pretty soon. So these healthcare professionals has a lot of room to being occupied in other more important things than bureaucratic daily things. So next please. So here there's a map to somehow challenge, we could say challenge, or we can make a wish list for AI. If you click, please, Carmen, thank you. So we are moving from circular economy towards a model of 5.0 economy, well, what we were saying, including sustainability and the patient in the very center of all what we do. From Internet of Medical Things to Internet of Medical Beings. And the next, please. And from pathology, next, please. You can just click down all of that. Thank you, Carmen. And from pathology to just-in-time medicine. We are used to a pathology happening, but what if we are able to take action in the right, very precise moment, just-in-time medicine? Maybe not all of the cases, but in some of the cases, we can detect the very first cell of cancer cell happening. And this is just-in-time medicine, taking action at the very right moment. And we are moving from healthcare data sets to plurisources data sets. It's not only about healthcare, it's also about Earth observational data sets and many others. Climate change, we are lately having new emerging pathologies, these communicable and non-communicable diseases that are just emerging due to climate change. So we need to really embrace all these crowds of data sets, not only from healthcare, but also all these other inputs that can train our models and make them more accurate. And I'm putting, for example, Earth observational data sets. And we are coming from an exclusive ecosystem where some subpopulations are excluded simply because the artificial intelligence algorithms decide to, and we are moving towards an inclusive overall umbrella, and that could be englobed in a 3D metaverse. So when I say this, I'm considering that new algorithms need to take consideration of this subpopulation, less favored populations. Sometimes there are some examples. I'm not going to put one because to do not move sensitivities of anyone, but it's important that we consider this superpopulation that sometimes we don't consider them, that are less favored, not only go for the favored ones. And we are moving from an holistic medicine to a real no patient left behind for the same thing. We need to consider that patients are citizens, and citizens are citizens of the world. It's not only my country, my place, my region, my whatever. A citizen is a citizen of the world, and when we create our technologies, we need to consider scaling up in the midterm and long-term future. And finally, considering biases, AI biases. Take care of our AI models and in all positions in the company, not only managerial positions, but also technical and also medical positions. In my day-to-day basis, I can do a lot, although I don't realize, or sometimes I don't stop to think about it. I can change things, and we need to consider these biases since the very beginning. This critical thinking needs to be there because it's our side of human being, and it's how we are humanizing the healthcare. Next, please. Thank you. So finally, next, a call to action for AI, artificial intelligence in terms of healthcare. Here we have a weather forecast map, we could say, to be a bit innovative, but I've put some concepts and leverage them as if it's a sunny day, a rainy day, or a stormy day, so that we can see how are we going in all the situations. So next, if you will, you can just click some of them and so that we can continue. So we have from one side new emerging communicable and non-communicable diseases, and they are very well addressed. We have been able to produce a vaccine in a record time due to computational methods. So we are able to address this. We are prepared for this, but we can be more. A unique umbrella of healthcare data sets. This healthcare diplomacy that I was speaking about in terms of regions, nations, and global, but a unique. So that data sets are accessible, because otherwise we can't progress. Tokenized and anonymized, of course, but accessible. And this is very important, and leveled, whatever, but accessible. And citizens' health-related quality of life and preservation of patients' lifestyle. We need to respect the lifestyle of the patient, impact the less possible, and influence the less possible. And this is being a reality every time more and more, thanks to artificial intelligence. And why not QALYs, what I was speaking about before, quality adjusted life years, based outcomes. When we speak about healthcare outcomes, it's not only about the results regarding to healthcare in terms of life extension, it's how I am extending the life of the patients in very high rates of healthcare. Inclusive algorithms. I repeated before and I say it again. It's very important that when we create our models and our algorithms, since the very beginning, we include less favored subpopulations. The patient journey optimization, the ideal, the panacea, it's going to be when we are able to narrow this gap very much from since the pathology is diagnosed, the early diagnosis, until the best prognosis possible for that patient, although it is the chronicization of the pathology. At the very best health-related quality of life. Then sustainability. Sustainability pops up when we speak about healthcare, and when we speak about health tech also. It's not about only circular economy, but also considering sustainable development goals that we have 2030. And finally, cross-border health. Cross-border healthcare access, we need to consider that we are scaling all these models that we are creating regarding to artificial intelligence. And here it is, the thing, we need to think big, act locally, but think globally, so that we can scale up our technologies with no problem. With no problems, respecting the regulatory frameworks and the data, all the data regulatory premises, we could say. So the new model is going towards a non-pathology occurring. And this is something that seems to be like, is it possible? It is possible. And every time more and more, we are getting coaches of health, texts that are permitting us on a daily basis to respect ourselves and have better healthcare. We are already arriving at latest stages of our lives playing tennis. I'm joking, but it's a reality. The quality of life and regarding to life expectancy, it's being improved, and we have a lot of room to do here, and we are onto it. And universal high standards of care. When I say universal, it's universal coverage, no patient left behind, with high standards, excellent healthcare for everyone. The next one, please. So just to finalize these take-home messages, I could say, please, the next. So we can take home the importance of the artificial intelligence enabling the Internet of Medical Beings. All these health technologies included in our lifestyles. It's not only Internet of Medical Things, it's also a matter of Internet of Medical Beings, respecting the lifestyle of the patient and impacting consequently. With all what we've seen in the beginning of the presentation regarding to permitting this patient empowerment. the data advocacy, it's supreme to consider that data sets are what are pushing towards the progress of medicine. So we need to make it possible. And considering NFTs and considering the economy of the data. And finally, this ad hoc medicine. I mean, we are available. We are able already to make a very precise and personalized medicine, and this is permitting us to every time be closer and closer to a cross-border universal healthcare. So, thank you. Next, please. Well, so this is it. I'm Silvia Micalo. I presented myself in the beginning of the presentation. Thank you so much for sharing with us this time in the AI-Café. And we're starting now the question and answers round. Carmen, correct me if I'm wrong. And just, well, I would like to share with you this screenshot of my recent book. So, so that you can know it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Silvia. I'm one of the readers of your book.
Thank you.
Can really recommend it to everybody. It's a lot of information to, yeah, all about how to start your company in the health tech market. And here my questions also come. You have your own company, Silvia.
Yeah.
Do you develop health tech for the metaverse?
Oh, what a nice question. We are preparing, yes. They're actually not implementing, but preparing. We are in very initial phases in some technologies, but we are expecting in the near future, yes, for sure, phase 2 and phase 3 implementing an integration. Towards metaverse, we are beginning since the very beginning to conceptualize already technologies, thinking of this that it's occurring in the near future. Let's hope so. Yes, thank you.
Great. Emma, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question too. What are your next non-confidential health tech innovation plans?
Okay, yes. Well, we are creating, well, we are with different technologies. Some of them are, we could say, commoditized because they are nothing new. I could share with them with you, but I would change anything. You would say, okay, I already know this. It's common knowledge. But there are some of these ones, like for example, we are about to launch smart mirror technology to forecast healthcare risks. And when I say smart mirror technology, it has to do with AI, artificial intelligence, and forecasting healthcare risks in a very certain and concrete area. It's a common knowledge that this technology is being used in cancer patients already, and in some cases and piloting in clinical trials, but we are also doing it in another field of pathology. And we have lots of expectancies towards this. We have also in parallel other technologies, a pipeline of some of the products, and some of them are kind of confidential, but we can say that we are very, very much onto this patient empowerment and doing our best to enable it, geoclustering communities and trying to empower them between one to each other. And this is something that I hope that it's a reality in the very near future, and that can change a lot. Some things. Maybe I'm very ambitious, but I hope so.
Thank you. Here comes from our audience, Barnabaskis. Question 1, what is quality?
What is quality? Yes, good question. Quality is it's a new concept that it's quality adjusted life years. Sometimes when you read the SMPC of a drug, you can see at the end of the SMPC the qualities that this drug improves. And this is that one quality is one life extended year at high rates of quality of life. And this it's a pharmacoeconomic value that makes a difference. If you have, for example, two health technologies and you need to compare them, which one is the best one from both? Okay, I wouldn't know. But if you make an exhaustive pharmacoeconomic test between your technology and the benchmark, you could, one of the parameters that you can include in this comparison to whatever, occupy a strategic position in the market, or who knows, maybe being integrated in a healthcare ecosystem or a public system, you can consider CALIS as a very important and not only qualitative but also quantitative data when it comes to pharmacoeconomic matters.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Barnabas. Why do you say no patient left behind? What about the patients who has no access to the tool?
Okay, yes, this is a very nice question, and it's very true. But we need to consider, for example, if we think of a country, let's say Africa. For example, we can consider the patient that lives in Africa. The patient that lives in Africa, for example, it's very high proficient in terms of health, in terms of technology, and every time more and more technology is part of our life. It's not no patient left behind. I was not referring to the patient that has no access to technology, because for me is where we live now and where we are moving towards in 3 to 5 years. All of us, we're going to be able to democratize technology in our places, in our countries, in our regions. But when I speak about no patient left behind, I'm speaking about the biases that artificial intelligence models are arising and popping up. Sometimes we launch a technology and we just assess it and we take all the results and whatever. But in the end of the day, what is important is that all the superpopulations are included in this artificial intelligence model, because otherwise, why? If I'm only considering a superpopulation, of course, a superpopulation could be a pathology, but I'm thinking about healthcare systems nowadays are very, we could say, in sometimes, I'm not saying any country, not considering anyone, sometimes exclusive from some populations. But in the era of the technology, and thanks to artificial intelligence, we are moving towards a model where all the patients will somehow be able to have at least access to some basic standards of healthcare. We can consider these basic standards of healthcare pure and simple, genuine training. And this changes a lot the overall thing, because it already empowers the patient and makes shifts in the overall landscape. So when I say no patient left behind, I mean not excluding superpopulations, and it's not easy to do, but not excluding superpopulation less favored in our artificial intelligence models.
Okay, thank you. And just a question with this AI driven drive in this booth, which you had in your PowerPoint. Where is this? Where does this exist? This 1 minute.
I don't understand. This exists. Yeah, it exists. Yeah, actually, it exists. It's a Ping and Good Doctor initiative, and it's let's see if they scale it up or not. But it's a real best practice for me, and I think there's a lot of room to improve. When we think about these best practices, like the one we saw, we should consider not only look at our belly and our countries, but look abroad, overseas. shift dimensions. I mean, shift areas. We can learn a lot from other disciplines. When we are in healthcare now, I'm speaking about healthcare, but there are so many disciplines, and we can learn a lot from them. And for example, this is a best practice. There are many others, but this one, imagine a person that otherwise wouldn't have the possibility to interact with a doctor. He enters the cabin and gets a fully diagnosis in less than 1 minute. And not only this, he also or she can take the medication home in a split of a second. And this is kind of, okay, we are moving towards something that it's worth it.
Yes. Emma, do you have still a question?
Yes, 1 second.
I go ahead. Emma looks it up because I'm ahead. Imagine a startup company who wants to enter the health tech market. It's a new company. And I've read your book, and you talk a lot about clinical tests, that you have to do clinical tests in order to get basically officially a health tech application or so. What needs a young company for performing clinical tests?
Okay, good question. Okay. First of all, I would say that it's important to test clinically our technologies, because we can't claim that we do something unless it's proved. This is the first thing. And the second thing is that to put action onto this, you can simply, if you are a technology allocated in a remote region, you can, I would say, as a starting point, look for, I always speak about KOLs in my book. And when I refer to KOLs, I speak about key opinion leaders. Why? Because if I'm speaking about sleep problems, people that have problems with the sleep issues, I would better ask the very best key opinion leader in the world regarding to sleep problems to validate my technology with his or her patients. This is one thing. But then also, if you need to start this, I would say, okay, look for a very well-prepared person, a key opinion leader, first thing. And go and talk to him or her. Explain your technology and agree, find synergies of collaboration with this KOL or this department that is strategic in the field. Because I can't validate or say that my technology does something that it's unless clinically proven. But this could be a starting point. But to do this, sometimes it's not possible to achieve the best specialist of Karolinska, for example, in Sweden, or could say Mount Sinai in New York. But we can find very good key opinion leaders in your area. This could be a starting point. And from that point on, of course, you need to start the clinical trial. I'm saying that this could be a starting point, but then you need to prepare the roadmap of the clinical trial. And this is not a joke. You are treating with patients. That's why I say contact the key opinion leader in very first place. Then the second thing is to prepare the roadmap. And this has to do with internal changes inside your company and external changes, because you will need to collaborate clinically. This starts with creating or preparing the position that is strategic in health tech companies. It's not only about the tech director, but it's also about the health director. It's important, the medical director in health tech companies. And this position, this person is strategic in terms of healthcare affairs, regulatory affairs in healthcare matters. And this person is going to be able to interact with the key opinion leader and on behalf of the company and on behalf of the technology, drive the product to success. But because clinical trials has a lot of minorities. It's a very complicated field. It's not an easy field. And when we touch patients, this is, but it can be done in a little committee. and prepared. And there are also CROs that you can externalize and help you to drive all this process. But as a very first step, I would say, first, contact the key opinion leader of the pathology and present the technology. And he or her should be the ambassador of the clinical trials that you can perform in the near future. And you can start, for example, with a pilot, with a really small trial in a very small group of patients. For example, 10 patients, 20 patients, something that is statistically significant. But if you are thinking of your technology being integrated in a healthcare system in the near future, or who knows, into private insurance framework, or who knows, going well, you need this validation and this. But if you want to go through regulatory bodies, you will need to prepare a submission dossier for going to class 2 or type 3 medical device, and then the thing gets more complicated. It's not complicated, we shouldn't be scared about this, but it's only having in the team the right people that can assess these matters, because otherwise it's not possible. It's we can learn. In my book, I speak about highlights, we could say, but in very big lines. Nothing to do with the super specialist in clinical trials. And in clinical trials, that has to do with health tech. A good starting point, because we are in a very emerging field, health tech. You can find this profile coming from the pharmaceutical industry sometimes, because they are used to test drugs. And what is a health tech device? In the end of the day, it's a, could say, a pill, no? A solution, a medical solution for the patient. No? And we need to take care of the medical solution in these terms also, in this regard, clinical trialing the solution.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. That's Emma. You have a question?
Yes, I have another question. Can you give an example of an existing legal and ethical, trustworthy health tech application using artificial intelligence?
What do you mean? If I have an example of an application using AI?
Yeah,
okay.
Already existing.
Yes, there are plenty. I would say all of them, or most of them. In very soon, as I said in the very beginning of the presentation, 75% of companies are going to be using AI within the internal processes or within their technologies. So if you want me to put an example, for example, let's say, and one example that had actually a bias regarding to artificial intelligence. For example, I'm not going to say the country, but a region from this big country had a problem to solve, and the problem to solve was to narrow the waiting lists in the rooms in the consultancies. When the patient waited for the doctors, they had to wait a lot. Not only that, but also long waiting lists regarding to months. Months to have a simple visit. So they created an AI model, an artificial intelligence algorithm that was integrated within an app, an APK. So it's an easy applicative. But what the thing did is that they introduced all the inputs, as I already said in the beginning of the presentation, the black box operated, and then they got the outputs. And the outputs of the model were very, they optimized the waiting lists, actually. They narrowed them from I don't know how many months up to days, days of wait. But the thing was that they less favored they erased, deleted completely, the model deleted the subpopulations that, for example, that had very low incomes, because these subpopulations had a very high rate of non-presentables. They didn't come to the visit. Why? Because they had to work more, they couldn't combine with the kids, and they couldn't attend the presential visit because they had no help at home, or whatever, for many reasons. But these populations were get rid of the model. So this is one of the biases that, although the solution was optimum and was working, it had a really big problem because there was this bias. The artificial intelligence just deleted the subpopulation that if it was of a human side being, probably wouldn't have deleted from the model. And they fixed it and they adjusted and solved the problem. But this is an example. Because when we think of artificial intelligence, we think of something atomic, no? Wow, something very out of the blue, but it's not. It's a commodity already, and it's in our real lives.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah, and here another question from Hakim Ben Othman. Hi, Silvia. I have worked on a permission-based electronic health records, EHR, system capstone project. You laid emphasis on democratizing healthcare.
Yeah.
I appreciate very much your inclusive healthcare view. However, we observe some growing permissioned, which means private, blockchain solutions that are not open. What do you think about this?
Yeah, true. Yeah, when we create assets, when we dematerialize all what's in the materialized world and we convert it into digital assets, we have these issues, no? That it's quite difficult to manage or handle all these situations because they are assets, tangible assets. Although they are digital, they are tangible. And when it comes to electronic health records, as you were saying, and you have all these data sets pools and there's all these lakes of information and all these data lakes, you have this issue and you will have this. How to do so? I don't know. But what I can say is that there are some countries that they are already starting to enable these, we could say, clouds of common sources of data sets pool for the whole country. And this, it's we could say that there are some of the countries that are years forward from what we can think about this, because the whole country, big countries, have already all these data sets integrated because they are property from the government. So we do need to make this shift possible, and very soon, because it's important to move forward and to be able to get these sustainable the development goals for from 2030. The how, I don't know. Can have some ideas, but as you say, it's an issue to address, and very nice question because it's important that we share it here. Thank you so much, Joaquin.
That's the last. It's him, Hakim, and that's also the last question for the cafe today. Do you think that all blockchain solutions should be open? I think that depending on the problem we need to solve, we should develop private blockchain solutions. What do you think?
I don't know. The casuistic is regarding to blockchain and all these blueprints that we can consider along the whole pathology journey are so many, and there are so much casuistics that we should address each case in detail, assess each case in detail. But we can consider that the more open access we have these data sets, the faster we will move towards the ecosystem that we need to move towards. And there are in other fields, data sets are open access, simply open access. And there are impacting, and these are data sets that are impacting healthcare the same as pure healthcare data sets. I'm speaking about, for example, Earth observational data sets. You know, these, why not? They are open access in most of the cases. And there's plenty of repositories. Well, I've shifted from one subject that it was blockchain to the other, but still, this has a lot of there's a lot of casuistic. We should study it in more detail. But I would say, of course, and I agree with you that some cases maybe we should consider privatization, of course. But in most, I would push for progress, and progress has to do with diplomacy and cross-border healthcare.
Yes.
And
thank you. Thank you, Silvia. We are now coming to the end of the cafe. We're already 1 minute over. So again, I thank you very, very much for being with us today. This was very informative and great. Thank you, Silvia.
Thank you so much to you, Carmen and Emma. It's been a pleasure, and we repeat whenever you want. We can.
Yes.
And
See you. No? I sent you the
Okay.
recording later.
Thank you to all. Thank you to you all.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, Emma. Bye, Silvia. Bye, everybody who's out there.
Thank you.
Great to have you here today.